An open ear headset with boom mic that cuts out 99% of background noise. Pretty cool. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and sometimes the world you inhabit is just a noisy place. And that makes it really hard to be on phone calls. Hang on. I have the ability to turn off that background noise, just like these do. This is the EKSA Telecom S30 AI-powered open-ear headset. And as you can see, they are a really interesting design because they actually fit over your ear, but they don't block your ear. So that's it. It's fully installed. You can see here how it fits on my ear, but it doesn't block me hearing everything going on around me. The one that's on the right ear is a little simpler because there's no boom mic on it. And that's everything. So now it's ready to go, Bluetooth paired. Let me tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll give you I'll give you a quick demo, but it has 16.2 millimeter drivers and tube bass is what they call. So it gives you actually surprisingly good audio reproduction. It includes SBC and AAC, so it's going to play really well with iPhones. It doesn't have active noise cancellation, which wouldn't make sense for an open ear device. But they do have AI-powered environmental noise canceling that they say cuts out 99% of background noise. In a minute or so, we're going to test that out and find out if it really works. There's privacy mode because sometimes with open ear, if you crank it super loud and you're in a quiet environment, the person next to you can kind of hear what you're listening to. But when you get a phone call, it actually drops that volume down to make sure you have privacy. Great idea. Phone call's done, goes back to whatever you set your music to. And I found that my music in a quiet environment like my studio, I can listen to it at about 3/4 volume, and it's nice and loud and a really good sort of filling environment. So 9 hours of talk off the bass or 16 hours of music off the bass. This bass gives you a bunch more charges, so this in total will give you 48 hours of talk time until you have to charge this up, or 70 hours of music listening. But probably you're going to be using these more for talking than listening to music, though it works perfectly well for both. When this is ready to charge, and of course if you put these in, they immediately start charging. But when this does need a charge, then there's USB-C on the back, and of course a USB-C to USB-A cable included, or it can actually do wireless Qi charging on the bottom. So that's an easy way to make sure that it stays charged. The whole thing does come with this, if I may say so, slightly chunky carrying case. It is making sure there's space for everything, including the cables, which is a nice step on their part, but it does make it a much bigger form factor. But you can choose if that's something you want to use or not. Supports multi-point connection, Bluetooth 5.3, they're IPX5 water resistant, so if you want to go for a jog and stay on the phone with this headset while it's raining out, go wild. Not sure what the other person's going to experience, but hey, that's you. And range from your device for Bluetooth is 30 meters or 100 feet, somewhere around there. Supports iOS, iPhone, Android, Windows, Mac, really anything that can support a Bluetooth microphone or headset, these are going to work for. Now, with all of that said, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give you a chance to hear it so you can catch how well the microphone picks up audio. And then partway through that, I'm going to push this button and I'm going to be in a louder environment. And so the question is really, can this cut out all that background noise? So I'm going to go into voice recordings on my iPhone, and now what you're hearing is my voice as picked up by the EKSA Telecom S30. And as you can hear, it's a really nice, clean, clear voice. But let's turn on that background noise. And you're not going to hear much of anything, so don't be weirded out, but I promise. I'm now simulating being in a noisy bar, and if I stay quiet, it's quiet. So you don't really know. There's a tiny bit of bleed through while I'm actually talking, but otherwise, it's really remarkably quiet. Let's go away from the bar. So now I turned that off, and you can hear there's no more tiny bleed through. But considering how noisy it is for me sitting here with this playing that audio track, it's pretty darn remarkable. So let me switch back to my other microphone. And one of the things I really like about these is that they're super comfortable. You could wear these all day. Honestly, you'll forget you're wearing them after a few minutes because they're not covering your ear, they're not over your ear, they're not in your ear. They're just sitting in front of your ear. It's a very sort of polite way to design a headset. And so, from the perspective of being on a phone call, they're wonderful. On a Zoom call, on a Teams or Meet call, anything like that, these are fantastic because you'll be able to hear the other people really clearly, and they'll hear you really clearly, unless you push the mute button. And otherwise, you can still hear the environment around you. So it's really pretty slick. And if you're work from home, you'll hear if there's like a crash in the kitchen and you're like, I need to go check what happened. But no one else will hear because of that environmental noise canceling on the microphone. So it really is really nice. The question that still remains is, all right, so what does music actually sound like with these? And I'll tell you, the first generation of open-ear headsets were completely missing bass and even mostly mid-range. It was just focused much more on the highs. But X has gone through a couple of generations of its design, as has the industry overall, and these have remarkably good sound. I was listening to some Herbie Hancock, classic jazz, beautifully engineered and mastered music, and it sounded really good. Was it as good as like $500 super high-end audiophile headphones? No. Was it plenty good enough to listen to while you're working or studying or, doing whatever it else is that you want to be able to do, like exercise or something? Absolutely. Music's going to sound good. Things like podcasts and audiobooks will sound great because, of course, all of these tend to be tuned for the human voice frequencies, but these, with that tube bass feature, TM, then actually gives you a surprising amount of bass. If you're an EDMer and you're waiting for the drop, well, these aren't necessarily going to give you that earth-shattering experience, but seriously, open ear headsets, come on. So really very easy to work with. They have one button that's bright orange, and that is a multifunction button. And what I like about it is once you have them turned on and paired, you can just drop them in the case, and now it's off. And then when I pull it out, it'll turn on and pair again automatically. So I don't have to think about that. And I will put the other one on too. The other one, because of the headset, you do have, or the boom mic, you do have to sort of adjust that slightly so you can get it in the case. But once it's in the case, it's a magnet, so super easy. Again, there's a lot to like here. I think they're really well designed. I think that the sound will surprise you, and they are super comfortable. If you're used to having stuff stuck in your ear or these big things clamped on your head, these are a whole different experience. And having that boom mic with the AI-powered environmental noise canceling, as you heard, gives you a lot of freedom to have conversations with people, even in noisy environments. So much to like here. I really have no negatives other than, like I said, maybe the carrying case could have been a little streamlined, but hey, you can put it back in the box and not worry about it. So probably not a big deal. That's everything I got. I think these are ones definitely worth checking out. And if you spend a lot of time on phone calls or on video chats, then these are a game changer versus you having to get the mediocre audio pickup from your computer or on your phone. I mean, modern phones like an iPhone or an Android, these are terrible for phone calls. So it's really like you must have some sort of a device to get better experience, and these offer a really good solution. I am going to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications of my new content, and give me a thumbs up if you found this of value. Of Of course, I hope you did. Excellent. These, let me pull this out and spin that around. This is the EKSA Telecom S30 AI-powered open-ear headset, and it is $149.99 at bestbuy.com. And honestly, like I said, if you spend a lot of time on phone calls or on just chatting with people on different systems like FaceTime or something, then these are fantastic. But even if you just want to use them to listen to music while you're gardening and you want to be able to hear the environment around you or something, then these are also really good for that. They are a little bit chonky in terms of the size versus other open ear headsets, but there's a lot of circuitry in here that give you a really great experience, and they are still so light that you will not even realize you have them on after like 5 or 10 minutes. It's everything I got. I think I'm going to go back to some Herbie Hancock, so I'll hope to catch you in my next video.